The other day, someone asked me, "Where do you see yourself in a year from now?" And I completely froze. Not because I don't have a dream, but because I felt so far from it that I became completely overwhelmed and there was just static in my brain. So if you have ever gone quiet when someone has asked you what you wanted, this episode is for you. If you're a wife, a mom, a supporter of someone else's dream, an encourager, buckle up because I am about to call myself out, and it's probably going to feel like I'm calling you out too. Thanks for picking up. I am your host, Emerica, and you are listening to the Guts and Glory Collective podcast. Today is going to be a little bit more vulnerable because it's a solo episode. It's just me, and I'm going to be talking about something so real that I have been working through because I feel like it's so relevant to probably a lot of the listeners. I think this is a fun thing to talk about right now because I am coming up on my 1 year anniversary of being married. So within the first year of marriage, obviously there's a lot of things you need to learn together and whatever. But this lesson honestly took me by surprise because I am very confident and I am very secure in my identity. And so to have somebody ask you the question, where do you see yourself in a year from now, and feel completely lost, that really stirred something inside of me where I needed to kind of check myself and see what was going on because I know myself typically, but for whatever reason in that moment I didn't have a clear picture of what I wanted. So I guess what I had to kind of ask myself is what changed, because I used to know what I wanted, and for whatever reason in that moment I didn't. Basically, as I was reflecting, my whole life through this first year of marriage revolved around the question, how clean can I get the house before my husband gets home? Or what can I have in the fridge that will make him excited? Or just questions focused on everything and everyone but myself. Like even on weekends when we were free, my husband would be like, "What do you want to do?" And immediately I would deflect and be like, I don't know. What do you want to do today? As long as you're happy, kind of thing. I've come to realize is that's not sweet or that's not selfless. It masquerades as that for sure. But in reality, it is a loss of identity for me. And my husband married me because he loved me and my preferences and my choices and my hobbies too. And so when I have completely lost that version of me that he fell in love with, that should be a wake-up call. I am so serious. I could not even answer the question what do you want for dinner, without redirecting it back to him. I was unintentionally making myself so small that I couldn't even locate my own opinion. And that's where I feel like I got so far from that dream of where do you see yourself in a year from now. I was like, I don't even know who I am right now. It was the weirdest wake-up call. And obviously, I came to realize that this didn't just happen one day. This happened one deferred opinion at a time until deferring became literally my whole personality. And that bled into so many other areas of my life where I found myself just turning into a complete people pleaser, which, if you know me, that is not me at all. I don't mind being blunt. I don't mind stepping on toes sometimes. So to have this question rock me at my core like that, it was just so unsettling, and I knew that something needed to be done. When that person asked me the question of where I see myself, and it was straight up static in my brain, I could see the dream and I could feel the calling on my life. But the second that I actually tried to picture the reality of it happening is where I shut down, because I felt so far away from being on that path that I just shut down. Not because the dream itself had died, like I still have that rooted within me, but because I so slowly lost the version of myself who believed in myself because I was so busy living for others' opinions unintentionally. Like my husband asks me all the time what I want and what I want for dinner and where I want to go this weekend and all of those things, but this weird self-abandonment thing just happened over this last year. And again, I didn't realize it until this question was asked. And that's when it all started to make sense. Being able to give this to God and pray and be like, what is going on? I don't even know who I am right now. I feel so weird that I have neglected my own voice, my own opinions, my own preferences to say things that other people aren't going to be offended by. Like, God, remind me who I am at my core, because that's the person my husband fell in love with. Remind me who I am. Remind me how you created me, because you gave me specific gifts, you gave me specific hobbies and interests that make me interesting as a person. And I feel like I just like forgot all of that. Anyways, so I was praying. I gave this up to God and I'm just like, can you please help rewire everything? Please help me remember who I am, God. And I feel like God so clearly said, the thing that I called you to do, America, is to help other people walk in their God-given identity and to walk in that with confidence and authority, knowing exactly who they are. And if that is not the same exact thing that I feel like I've been failing at in my own life, okay. So I've been sitting here thinking that I need to have my whole life together before I can lead anyone else there. But that's kind of backwards. You don't get disqualified from your calling because you're currently in the middle of it. That's when you're getting prepared. So this whole time that I've been trying to like work through this identity crisis, I don't know what you want to call it, really God was just like, hey, America, you cannot lead people to places you have not been yourself. So I am going to make you go through the valleys so that you can lead others through those trenches too. I cannot lead other people into a life of confidence and owning who they are if I have not had to really struggle and learn it for myself. I just think the thing that's so funny about it is like all of this was out of love, out of like truly wanting to do what my husband wants to do, truly wanting to make sure the house was clean when he got home, truly wanting to cook what he wanted to eat. Like it truly all came from the best intent. And somehow I became so comfortable choosing what others were choosing instead of asking myself to make a decision once in a while. If any of that story resonates with you and you feel lost in your identity because you've been serving others or because you've been loving too hard, like that's kind of where it started. It was good and pure intent that got too carried away. So, how can you love selflessly but with boundaries without compromising who you are at your core? All that to say, if you are where I was, here is where I would start. Not with some big 5-year plan or whatever, because that's going to overwhelm you and that's going to shut you down exactly how it did to me. You need to start smaller than what even feels reasonable. So, first thing, number one, you need to practice having an opinion on nothing that matters. Pick the movie that you guys are going to watch tonight. Choose dinner. Choose what color paint you want to paint the shelf over there. You are not solving your identity crisis by picking a restaurant, but you are going to start by rebuilding that muscle that says, yeah, like I want certain things. So, number one is making decisions and having opinions on things that don't matter. Second thing is when your dream feels too far away, you need to stop looking at the mountaintop and you need to just find the trailhead. Like the smallest step. You do not need the entire path lit up for you. You just need the next visible step. It's really that simple. The whole blueprint will not be laid out for you. Just know your one next move. Okay, the third thing you're going to do is you're going to say the thing before you feel ready to say it. Confidence shows up after you speak enough times that your own voice stops feeling foreign to you. It's like getting comfortable in your own skin. It's truly a muscle that you must exercise. So before you feel confident, you have to walk in it. Before you feel ready to say that thing, you gotta say it. It will start to feel natural to have an opinion. It will start to feel normal to say what you want. And people won't always agree with you, but that's where your identity has to be so solid that then your confidence can back it, even when others don't agree with you. And that's okay because we're allowed to have opinions. So let me call you out the way that I just called myself out. If someone asked you right now, what do you want? Not what keeps the peace, not what makes everyone else comfortable, not what you're supposed to want. Could you answer that? Or would you deflect like I did? You don't get an extra life to figure this out later. This is the only one you have. So every year that you spend performing a version of yourself that has no opinions is a year where you are not living out what you were actually built for. Let's say that again. Every year that you spend performing, putting a mask on, and not having an opinion is truly wasted time because you are not living what you were built for. We all have different paths that we are meant to pursue. Like, some people are meant to work from home and be super artsy, and some people are meant to have a 9 to 5 and they're wired to like love being in an office. Just because your dream does not look like that person's doesn't mean you're wrong, doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. You just need to stay in your lane. Stop getting confused. Have an opinion, have a preference, and stick to it. So, yes, I froze when someone asked me where I saw myself in a year from now. But I am not frozen anymore because of that honesty with myself and that confrontation of something is off here. How are you going to address it? When you're not solid in your identity, you begin living for others. And when you live for others long enough, you become a shell of a human. That's worthless. I don't want to sit in that any longer. That is, I wouldn't even say painful, it's like numbing. It is the worst thing to feel like you don't know who you are. So if you have felt that, if you are currently feeling that, don't close this app. You are going to choose to have one small opinion and you're going to say it out loud to someone. That is your whole assignment. Try it one time a day. Identity is not rebuilt on revelation. It's literally rebuilt in reps. So the more that you practice, the easier it becomes. But I love you too much for you to continuously be tossed around like a wave. There is no one else like you. So stop compromising to make others happy. Stop making yourself small to keep the peace. Stand for something. And send this episode to someone else who also needs to get off their butt and stand for something. We're not being weak anymore. We're being ourselves, regardless of what other people think. So that is your wake up call for today. And I look forward to talking soon.